for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Wendy Bell Radio was live. Are we going to a funeral after? Like, we're both wearing black.
No, I thought I would wear pearls today. Pearls. My boyfriend Gail might like pearls. Hopefully Gail's feeling better. He's had a bit of a rough stretch health-wise. I see you, babe. Good morning. Hey. How's everybody? Big news. We are so close. 71.7. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we're real close.
We're close to 72,000 followers on Rumble. Oh my gosh. So I'll give you a little bit of inside baseball, right? So Rumble gives us people Brick House Nutrition, Lean, Chef IQ, other sponsors, right? And then we have a lady who also helps us out. She gives us some as well, and we enjoy them very much. So another company reached out to me, and they're like, hey, we've been following you. We like your following. We like what people are saying. We like what you do. Fill out this form, and we'll see if we might have some interesting new sponsors that your people might enjoy. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I did it yesterday, Brock, and I was able to go online and say 71,600 people follow us on Rumble. I was able to say 120 odd thousand follow us on TikTok, another 70,000 on Instagram, another 50,000 on Twitter. I was like, because of you guys. And I was very proud of that. You make me very proud. And thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just wanted you to know that. So who knows? We'll see. They're like, well, we've got some very interesting people that might be a really good fit for your program. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If it is, great. If it's not, it's not. But we're delighted you're here. So thank you.
It's nice. Let me say that you guys have put us in the position to where we can say no.
We can be picky.
Yes.
Which is great.
Nice.
It's so nice. Yeah.
Because you typically don't get that wherever you work when you work for a corporation.
No.
They're like, here are the commercials we're running.
And you're like, well, I don't really like that company.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, sucks to be you. Read it anyway. I'm like, blah. So let's hit these Rumbles out of the park. 1.06. You guys have done such a great job. We finished in the top 5, I think, all last week.
Mm-hmm.
All last week. All of the Rumble political people, all of us in the whole universe. And you guys put us in the top 5. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I love you guys. 1.09. All right, so our goal is to start at 1.5. That's what we're going to do today. Schismo. Trump is trying to fix America. The Dems are calling it undoing everything Biden accomplished. Well, they're correct about that. They're correct
Just
about
because
that.
they called them accomplishment doesn't mean they're good.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I take umbrage with the word accomplishments.
Yes.
But they did do something. They sure did. This whole thing in Portland. There's a side of me that says bugger out. Let them kill each other. Let it devolve. Go ahead.
I would typically feel that way.
Go ahead.
But when you're surrounding ICE agents and beating up independent journalists,
100%.
You cross the line.
That is the point.
You can yell and scream all you want. You cross the line.
Yes.
And when you get hit with a rubber bullet, don't complain how bad it hurts.
Yeah, I don't think those are comfortable. I know that paintball is not comfortable.
Yeah, that stings.
And that's, that leaves a mark. Right?
Especially when you get someone up close.
Uh-huh. Jag off. You took great joy in firing at me.
No.
Yes.
No.
Mm-hmm. I don't even have to see you shaking your head yes, because I already know your stupid play, you goof.
What? Well, we're looking at hostility on a Monday, 4 minutes and 5
There
minutes.
is no
into the show.
hostility. There is no. It's just facts.
Oh.
So we put a call in Nick's order. We'll see
He's
what
West
happens.
Coast. I'll be surprised.
Yeah. If he wakes up and he gets arraigned today for being a conservative journalist, apparently in Portland, that's against the law. If you get punched, documenting what's going on, as is your First Amendment right. Well,
yeah, they scream about freedom of the press.
Yep.
Nick's order is press.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, he has the freedom to get punched and be arrested for it.
Right.
So
it's okay to silence him.
Yes.
For the truth. Yeah. Interesting.
I have a very interesting quote from Nayib Bukele this morning. It's very obvious what's going on. It's curious to see the corruption in the legal system and the judges. It's just, wow. You guys are watching it front row seat. Holy cow. Glad you're here. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program, Common Sense Conservative Values, delivered by a mom with 30 years of broadcasting expertise. My friends, I sit behind this microphone as a seasoned professional, and I make a vow to you every single day. We're only going to tell you the truth. We're going to give you the facts. We're going to give you the data. We're going to give you our sources. We're going to tell you how to fact check us. And when you do, and you realize that we're not lying to you, it feels very comfortable, doesn't it? Media trust at an all-time low. Yes. We're going to end the program with that today, and all the nuts and bolts leading up to it paint a picture of Democrats needing to do one very important thing. And that is to look in the mirror, because the problems we have in this country will be staring right back at them. If you're new, WendyBellRadio.com, join us. Live video stream all 3 hours. Wendy Bell Radio is our podcast. Just keep coming back. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, it's almost as though everything that is so ridiculously, incredulously unsafe, demented, deranged, and dangerous that's going on in this country, that's clearly at the hands of the Democrat Party, it's gotten so preposterous. It's gotten so in your face. Judges have gone so far to pretend it's not going on that now you've got a mass awakening in the Black community, my friends. I will say one of the things I witnessed over the weekend, going through social media periodically here and there, was to see blackface after blackface take their phone, hit record, and say, "What are we doing?" Do we not understand that this party has lied to us generationally? And they're fighting now to keep the dangerous goons that came across the border, Tren de Aragua and others, and are defending Antifa. They are specifically wanting our Black communities to be overrun, to be unsafe, to be dangerous, to be chaotic in perpetuity. Enough is enough. You've got people who are in the Black community looking very seriously at what's going on. This is all part of the wake up. All part of the pain of waking up and seeing exactly who's been lying to you for so long. So, did you hear over the weekend? Journalist Nick Sorter, who's been on this program a couple times, in Portland, Oregon. He's in Portland outside the ICE facility, monitoring as a journalist what goes on after the sun sets in that beautiful city where a judge has said the Trump administration has failed to provide enough evidence that people there are in any danger. This doesn't rise to the occasion of the National Guard. There's no real threat to people. This isn't some reason to bring the Guard into town. Really? Well, as Nick Sorter was recording what was going on outside the ICE facility, as Portland police were there watching it, he got punched. He got punched, he got bullied, and he got arrested. Are you out of your mind? Yeah, because this is Crazy Town, USA. I want you to hear Nick moments after it happened, probably hours after it happened. He hopped on Fox News to be like, you know what? I believe that if you're a conservative covering what's really going on, you're the actual one in danger. Listen.
Kaylee, when they say they make arrests based on observed behavior, in these circumstances, I believe that observed behavior was being a conservative. Just being totally honest with you. You saw the video. There was another video that came out yesterday showing a close-up of what happened, and nobody, even my biggest detractors, cannot take that video and say I was the aggressor in the situation. Simply trying to walk down the sidewalk with my camera. I'm actually walking to my car at the time, and they jump in the way. They block me. They start surrounding me, and I keep trying to walk around them, and they continue to push me, and then eventually one of them throws a punch. So, and then 20 seconds later, I end up in a hole. And then what do I do after that? I get up and I walk over to the Portland police, not to report anybody, because honestly, I didn't expect anything to be done anyway. I just walk over there for a little bit of safety. Maybe it'll calm down a little bit for a few minutes. But instead, I sit there 7 or 8 minutes, and a sergeant walks up and points to me and says to the officers, "Cuff him." No reason given. The officers didn't know what they were doing. But in Portland here, Kaylee, at this point, the officers, your rank and file officers, do not do anything unless they are given a direct order to by one of their superiors. So somebody made the call to have me arrested. We just don't know who yet. And I think we're going to find out.
And so now you have Harmeet Dillon. She is Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division of this administration. She's investigating journalist Nick Sorter's arrest. Why does it seem that the Portland Police Department is working with Antifa? We're going to find out, she says. Here she is on Newsmax.
Portland Police Department has absolutely failed to protect the people of Portland going back well over a decade. They've been in the crosshairs of the United States Department of Justice dating back to 2010. A federal consent decree was actually issued against Portland's police department in 2012. They tried to delay it by a couple of years, but it went into effect 11 years ago in 2014. Since that time, as we've all seen on the television, there have been numerous riots with Antifa over the last 5 years. And while Portland was temporarily sort of in the about to get out of the consent decree phase, because of its failure to properly arrest people, document what was happening on the streets, keep people safe, they haven't gotten out from under the consent decree. So what we're doing today is actually under the purview of an existing federal consent decree over bad police practices. And we issued a very detailed letter this morning demanding to know why a journalist was arrested, why a second journalist, Katie Daviscourt, who was viciously assaulted earlier this week, where the police had the assailants temporarily in custody and let them go and did nothing about it. Why does it seem like the Portland police are actually working for Antifa as opposed to the people of Portland?
Right. So she says fancy things like consent decree. What does that mean? Well, when the federal government issues a binding agreement between the government and a state or local entity, where the state or local entity, i.e., your police department, has to agree to implement certain reforms to correct federal law violations identified by the government. That's what they've been under since 2014. That hasn't been working very well in Portland. Blue-run Democrat hellscape. So now you've got Portland residents across the street from this ICE facility who have been kept up night after night since middle of June. You've got these Antifa marauding gangs of goons bullying anybody, putting ICE agents in danger. Up 1,000%, guys. And Caroline Levitt says, you know what? Not only is Pam Bondi on this, President Trump is all over it too. Here's the press secretary.
Just last night, we saw an extremely troubling incident where conservative journalist Nick Sorter was captured on video being taken into custody by the Portland police after he was ambushed by Antifa and was defending himself from these assaults. But instead of arresting these violent mob members night after night after night who are ravaging this community, the police arrested a journalist who was there trying to document the chaos, and everyone in this room should be extremely concerned about that. The Department of Justice spoke with that journalist this morning, and they will be launching a full investigation into his arrest. This incident is part of a troubling trend in Portland where left-wing mobs believe they get to decide who can visit and live in their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that. I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy. There will also be an additional surge of federal resources to Portland immediately, including enhanced CBP and ICE resources. Law and order will prevail, and President Trump will make sure of it.
100%. Saw a statement by the president of El Salvador this morning, Nayib Bukele. And he said this: if you don't impeach the corrupt judges, you cannot fix the country. They will form a cartel to block all reforms, protecting the systemic corruption that put them in their seats. Bing, 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 bing. What is going on in America right now in some choice cities, think Portland, think Chicago, right, is the active pushback against you getting what you voted for. Because you voted to close the borders. You voted for law and order. You voted for dangerous, illegal gangs to be rounded up, to be criminally charged, and to be gotten the hell out of your country. And you have a Democrat Party corrupted and co-opted by a progressive, dangerous wing that doesn't think that you should get what you voted for. But Donald Trump is the threat to democracy. Right. Well, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about the federal government getting involved now. Okay? What do you do when your cops appear to be in bed with Antifa? Oh, that's an interesting conundrum. Why don't we go there next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network? Oh, it makes me so angry. Super, super pumped to have the wellness company. Super pumped to have the wellness company and Smile. This is their no fluoride, but rather peptide toothpaste. All right, so you know the wellness company. These are the folks who give you access to all of the medicines that we were told during COVID that we weren't allowed to get. It's horse paste. It's a dewormer. Don't take a horse dewormer. Well, what did we find out? Oh, ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine work phenomenally well during COVID. Well, the company that gave you the backdoor channel to that, the wellness company, twc.health/Wendy, has offered now a beautiful new product for your smile, and it's called Smile, right? Easy. So if you've ever checked out the ingredients in your toothpaste, it's a lot of harsh chemicals, things like triclosan, sulfates, titanium dioxide. They can maybe pose some risks long term. And you use these things every day hoping for a healthier smile, but you end up with irritated gums, sensitive teeth, and some sketchy chemicals. Well, no more. This is where Smile Peptide Toothpaste from the Wellness Company comes in. It's a breakthrough peptide paste designed to help reverse gum loss. Big bonus. Gum loss through mouth regeneration. And they use peptides for this. So helps your enamel grow back, helps your gums, and naturally whitens your teeth. Like, okay, I'm in. Smile is what it's called. Go to twc.health, use my promo code, which would be my name, Wendy, and you're going to get 10% off and free shipping. I think it's a wonderful thing. Maybe there's somebody in your life who you know suffers from sensitivity. This could be the answer. Very exciting. twc.health/Wendy, 10% off and free shipping. Let's see how you guys are doing. 1.82. Nice. Keep it up. How you doing? Froggy tried to buy me with $2.
Did he?
I don't know. I'm a little more expensive than that, Froggy, but I appreciate it. I did say your name. Mission accomplished.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
You bought into it, so.
I know. DOJ now investigating the Portland Police Department. All right, let's go. Of course, the judge's name is Karen.
Can't make it up.
It's so unfair to actually like good Karens.
I bet you she drives a Subaru.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So this U.S. district judge, apparently appointed by President Trump in his first term, her name is Karen Immergut. And she said, no, President Trump, you're not allowed to bring the National Guard into Portland. Now, there's some conflation of what's really going on. So the National Guard is intended to protect the federal buildings. The federal buildings, by the way, which the feds had to put fencing around because the Portland police refused to step up and help them protect. And then when the feds put boarding up and fencing around the federal buildings, which were under assault by marauding goons from Antifa, do you know what the Portland, let's just say, mayor did? Yeah, he sued them. He sued him for like a zoning violation. Are you out of your mind? You get to a point where it's like, you know what? If you want to devolve into total chaos and you want to have madness and murder on your streets, I get to a point where you're sort of like, all right, you do you. Good luck with that. But see, the president was elected for all people. And all people includes those in those communities that are under siege through no fault of their own. And this president feels he has a duty, an obligation to fix that and to make the streets safer. Protect the federal buildings. This judge said, no. She said the state had provided substantial evidence that the protests at the Portland ICE facility have not been significantly violent or really at all disruptive in the days or the weeks leading up to the president's directive. I wonder if that judge has gone to Portland to see exactly what's going on, to speak to the residents. That's right. The answer would be a resounding no. We have a problem with judges, ladies and gentlemen. So trendingpoliticsnews.com headline, DOJ opens investigation into Portland police after weeks of violent rioting. Would the judge like to see this headline? Because apparently it has eluded her as she's been waving the wand from the bench. The Justice Department opening an investigation of the Portland Police Bureau's questionable practice surrounding weeks of sustained attacks and violent rioting targeting federal buildings and agents in the city. This is within the purview of the executive branch. This is his job, right? If you're going to do looting and you're going to do other stuff in the streets of Portland, all right, that's on you. Trump wants to secure and protect the ICE facility where migrants, illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens are being processed and ultimately shipped. Yes, he wants those protected. The news was announced just hours after conservative journalist Nick Sorter was arrested by Portland police after he was surrounded by a mob of far-left rioters, some of whom damaged his equipment and ultimately assaulted him. Despite the circumstances of the attack, Sorter was taken into custody and charged with disorderly conduct. Say what? He was doing nothing but filming, and they gooned around him and bullied and then threw a punch. His arraignment is set for 2 p.m. this afternoon, Western time. Yes? I can only imagine what he'll be charged with. I don't know, exercising his First Amendment right as a conservative, because it appears you don't have those rights. Just a day before, on the ground, reporter Katie Daviscourt, who has consistently documented far left and Antifa violence in Portland and Seattle and other cities, was assaulted with a metal pole. Did you guys see her face? Nice big black eye. Now, the Portland police, they saw it happen. They watched it. The officers did nothing. And what Nick Sorter is reporting from his experiences on the ground is that the police don't do anything unless they get directed by an overlord, whomever the police chief, this day guy is. Well, about him. Portland Police Chief Bob Day. Who is this guy? Did you know that he has a little side hustle going on in addition to his Portland police chief job? Yeah. He owns a site called Reluctant Change. It's a consulting firm offering workshops and keynotes. Of course, he would be providing them on, quote, leadership, navigating change, whatever the hell that means, and DEI topics, among others. This really is the guy that is in charge of the policing in Portland, Oregon. A guy who's clearly a left-wing activist himself, who has a side hustle going around and speaking to groups about the beauty and joy of box checking while hiring. Really? Yes, the DOJ must investigate. They have to. Can you imagine what they will find? This is just part of the overarching madness today, ladies and gentlemen. You've got J.B. Pritzker, you've got Gavin Newsom, and others preening for the cameras and demanding that Donald Trump is an authoritarian. This is the authoritarian I voted for. Because when you put people in danger, and when we get to see on live television or live video, a journalist getting attacked, and he got attacked again last night, ladies and gentlemen, Nick did. What's going on? Sounds like lawlessness to me. Huh. Well, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, it is day 6 of the Democrats proving that they really only care about illegal aliens. I have proof of that. Plenty of audio sound bites that'll make you go, what? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Attacked again. Police Chief Bob Day. It's such a nice little website, too. Do you need a keynote speaker to talk about handling change? the hell does that even mean? That is such a liberal business model, right? We'll help you navigate the complexities of the blah, blah, blah. And you're like, in real people speak, what does that mean? Really not anything, but you'll pay a lot for it, right? That's exactly what he's doing. Interesting. Very interesting, my friends. Let's talk about Texas Bullion Exchange. Wendy loves gold.com. I was talking to Joe about that this weekend. Maybe some more silver is in the future. Seems like a really good time to get invested in this stuff. Platinum, palladium, silver, and gold. Sounds like something like only rich people could possibly do. But you know what? That's not necessarily the case at all. Getting gold, getting silver in particular into your hands, silver bars, silver coins. These are beautiful coins. They come from all around the world. Many of them limited mintage. So they are truly like collector's items. But you can also get precious metals into your investments, into your portfolio that you've been squirreling away with your retirement monies. It's not hard to make that connection. All you got to do is talk to my friends, wendylovesgold.com. That's the website. You can learn more about what they do. Or you can call 855-927-5557. The nice thing about calling is that they answer and they know where you're calling from. And they're super excited when the phone rings and it's one of you. Because they're like, Wendy, your people are just wonderful. They want to be educated. They want to make smart decisions. And they don't want to be lied to. And so we create a wonderful relationship built on trust. Thank you. It's all I want. 855-927-5557. WendyLovesGold.com.
By the way,
yes.
Her birthday was yesterday, but happy birthday, Robin.
Yes, Robin.
Was she like 25, 26?
She's so great. I love her. She's a very sweet young lady. Very supportive. Here she is. I keep her right here. Look how cute she is. All decked out. Look at the clothes. Look at all of it. My girl. I'm claiming her. You can't have her.
Okay.
Okay. All right. How was your weekend, Brock?
What's that?
How was your weekend?
Long.
It was long.
It was long.
Is that a good thing? Like, were you bored it was long or it was long?
No, I mean, Saturday I had a cigar with a mutual friend of ours. Mm-hmm. Sunday just seemed long because because there was no Steeler game.
Maybe.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're doing dishes and laundry and it's just all the non-fun stuff.
Understood. Roger that. I got some wet rat hair. I've got Debbie Wasserman Schultz hair going on today.
It's not that bad.
Wow. It's not that bad. But it's not that good, apparently.
Well, I didn't say that.
Whatever. Talk to the hand. You've been married for how many years? You just so walked into that trap. It's just really unfortunate. 2.5, 350 people. That's what we need in 3 minutes. 2 minutes. You guys can do these things. 2.5.
Hey, if you don't want to watch the NFL because of the halftime show, I watch it because it's mindless sporting event while I'm doing other things.
What is that? I really don't watch any TV. I think we're canceling Netflix. I'm canceling Sirius XM, and we're going to cancel DirecTV. We just don't use it. Just don't use it, and you can get your sports on other channels. You know. I was talking to Joe. What?
No, nothing. How are you going to watch Life Below Zero? It's on Hulu. That's Disney.
I know. I hate everybody. I mean, honestly, it's how it feels. It's how it feels, isn't it? It is.
I mean, I basically watch DirecTV just to flick around different news. I'll flick on MSNBC and Newsmax and CNN, and and I use it here when we take a press conference. That's how we are able to do it. So it's.
By the way, I know that Sniper just had a sale, but our friend put up grass seed on the site. Yes.
Yes,
Didn't
it's
he?
there.
I bought it. I got it. I have a bag of it. I can't wait. I'm going to have one of the boys cut the grass and we're going to spread it. Aren't we supposed to get some rain tomorrow?
I don't know.
I think we're supposed to get some rain this week. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Everything on that site is worth buying. Disinfectwithsniper.com. It's the greatest landing zone ever. I'm telling you.
Ever.
Love it. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Isn't this such a weird, surreal time? Because the Democratic Party doesn't want people to walk outside their doors and experience what's really going on in the real world. They want you sitting like a bowl of mush in front of CNN or MSNBC, so that their talking points can somehow infiltrate those folds in your brain. And you should believe that this is all because of Donald Trump. Trump's an authoritarian. Trump's trying to seize power from people. Trump never is going to leave office. Oh my gosh. It's very basic what this president is doing. When you run on a platform that is making America great again, and the people against that are all for Antifa and Tren de Aragua and all of the goons that support them, and for violent protests and for looting and for glorifying fentanyl addicts like George Floyd, right? And for redistributing your wealth and giving it to the illegal aliens. They don't want you walking outside and seeing with your own eyes the story. But honestly, the people who really have to wake up are the people in the communities that are being absolutely ravaged by this lunacy. And these would be our inner cities. This would be our Black and Hispanic communities. You know, I can guarantee you that Black and Hispanic people, I am neither, but they want exactly what I want. They want sanity and safety, period. And they don't have it. And judges are ruling with magic wands that this president has no power to bring in the National Guard. What did he do over the weekend? He circumvented a couple of these rulings, and instead of deploying ex-National Guard to their state, he pulled the Texas Guard to move them into Chicago. He pulled the California Guard to pull them over into Portland. And this judge went nutty. You can't do that. Really? It's so curious to see who the Democrat Party supports, because it is not you. It is not your children. It is not your parents. It is not your family. It's not your business. It's nothing that has to do with anything you care about. And they make it abundantly clear. They shut down the freaking government over it, right? All right, so let's get to some nuts and bolts here. So the emergency room is the place that people without insurance commonly go for medical care, right? Whether or not it's an emergency, you really can't be turned away from an ER. You can't. And people pay or they don't pay. And if they don't pay, that burden falls on everybody else, right? It's just the way it goes. It's not like medical systems are all of a sudden going to say, well, we'll just give it to you for free. It goes somewhere else and it'll go to you. So when we're talking about illegal aliens using our emergency rooms as their primary source of health care, which is a thing, Who pays for that? Well, here's Caroline Leavitt. She's got a 1-2 punch with the press corps that is they're so desperate to create the narrative that they're not giving money to illegals. They're not trying to give them free health care. That's not at all what's going on. It's already been going on. And it's been going on for years. And Caroline Leavitt drops the hammer.
And it is an undisputed fact, a fact that under the Biden administration, illegal aliens were absolutely receiving taxpayer-funded health care benefits. In fact, in fiscal year 2024, Medicaid costs for emergency services for illegal immigrants skyrocketed by 142% from the previous year to $9.1 billion. That's $9.1 billion taxpayer dollars that were going to emergency services for illegals. Between President Trump's last full fiscal year under his first administration and Joe Biden's last full fiscal year, Medicaid spending on emergency services for illegal immigrants nearly tripled. There was an increase of 196% between 2020 and 2024. And I have a chart here for you, and I'm more than happy to email it to you.
Oh, I have actual data. And any of you here in this White House press briefing room who doesn't suck, who's honest about what's going on in this country, what the Democrats have done with Joe Biden's auto pen, opening up the border, bringing millions and millions of people across, giving them all the bells and whistles that you don't get, but you end up paying for. $9.1 billion in 1 year. 142% increase. So all of the semantics the Democrats are wrapping themselves up in knots with, no, we don't. We don't do that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And Caroline Leavitt isn't done. If you still think illegals aren't getting free health care, please focus your attention, ladies and gentlemen, on 2 states, California and Colorado.
Because some were asking dishonest questions yesterday about emergency rooms. In Southern California, according to healthcare professionals in 2023 under the Biden administration, Southern California's, quote, entire healthcare system was being bombarded with illegal immigrants and forcing American patients to endure longer wait times. In Denver, Colorado, the CEO of Denver Health stated that 8,000 illegal immigrants made 20,000 visits to the city's health system in 2023. Leaving an uncompensated bill totaling over $10 million. So when a legal alien goes to the emergency room, who's paying for it? The American taxpayer. The main safety net hospital in Denver had to turn away patients due to the massive influx of illegal immigrants into the community. And UC Health Hospitals in 2024 reported their system was under stress from an increasing number of migrants. As a result, according to the head of emergency departments and urgent cares across the hospital system, quote, access is impeded for everyone. These are healthcare professionals who dealt with this directly, and there's a lot more where that came from. It is an undisputed fact that Democrats want to give taxpayer-funded healthcare benefits to illegal immigrants, period.
This is Cloward Piven 101. And if you're unfamiliar with that, do yourself a favor and search it. What does it mean? Flood the social services with people, crash the system, render it ineffective, out of date, no longer useful, and then your government rides in on the white horse to save the day and implements a new system, and then everything changes. So these healthcare systems overrun. People who are American citizens, tax-paying citizens, aren't able to be seen. And the debt that is incurred because of the Democrat Party is through the freaking roof. This is great replacement theory in practice, in your face. Carving you out, bringing in a new permanent selected underclass, giving them all sorts of freebies, right? At your expense, and then lying to you about it. Dr. Mehmet Oz, the director for Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. He's on with Batya Angar-Sargon on News Nation. And she's like, look, so what is it? Are we paying for illegal aliens to get health care or aren't we? I'm going to go with the guy in charge of the system. Probably has got some data.
And the Democrats claim that the shutdown is about, tax credits for Americans, for vulnerable Americans, and access to health care. The Republicans say no, it's about keeping illegal migrants off of the Medicaid rolls and off of having access to government subsidized health care. The Democrats then respond and they say, well, actually, illegal immigrants can't access Medicaid. But that's not actually exactly true, is it, Dr. Oz?
Batya, your monologue was very accurate. And unfortunately, illegal immigrants have been able to access Medicaid. But more importantly, they've been able to access Cadillac Medicaid in California, where you get dental and vision and all kinds of other benefits that aren't part of regular Medicaid programs in other states or Medicare anywhere. Right? In Medicare, older Americans who work their whole life and put money into the system, they don't get free dental unless they sign up for Medicare Advantage. So it's a weird dynamic, but states were able, like California, were able to figure out that they could pay for illegal immigrants and give them fantastic high-level service, better than most other Americans get, and get the other Americans who weren't getting those services, who are rightfully here, lawfully present, to get them to pay the bill. So when we actually got serious about this and messaged that we were no longer going to do this, and the One Big Beautiful Bill codified that, guess what happened in California? They stopped offering those services. Because it was nice to do it if it was someone else's dime, but when I'm paying, I'm not so nice anymore. And I think that's the fundamental reality.
That is the fundamental reality. It's going on no matter how you want to slice it, no matter how you want to put it, no matter what your semantics, what your lingo. And that reality is now seeping in to everyday average Americans, like this young woman in her car who has had a light bulb go off and she wants to share the illumination with you.
Democrats in the Senate voted to keep the government closed for the remainder of the weekend. And the question is, are there actually illegal aliens receiving Medicaid? That whole thing is the impetus of our shutdown. And whether you like this or not, it's an undisputed fact that under the Biden administration, there were undocumented immigrants receiving taxpayer-funded health care. Here are the facts. Last year, Medicaid costs for emergency services for illegal aliens skyrocketed 142%, totaling $9.1 billion. From 2020 to 2024, Medicaid spending for emergency services for illegals tripled under Joe Biden, up 196%. In 2023, under the Biden administration, South California's, and I quote, entire healthcare system was being bombarded by illegal aliens, enforcing American citizens to endure longer wait times. In Denver, Colorado, the CEO of Denver Health stated that 8,000 illegal immigrants made 20,000 visits to the city's health center in 2023. That all left an uncompensated bill totaling over $10 million. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that there are about 1.2 million illegal immigrants receiving Medicaid. Those are just a few examples. So that's why in the One Big Beautiful Bill that was passed a few months ago, the Trump administration and Republicans made sure that those who are not American citizens were not receiving free taxpayer-funded health. Democrats want to add all that money back and give people who did not deserve free health care. If somebody says to you there are no illegal aliens receiving Medicaid, you show them this.
And you know what's interesting about her? She's putting up all of the sources underneath her face as she's sitting in the car. So a total stranger sitting in her vehicle, pulled off, maybe in a convenience store parking lot, to rattle off this video to you, gives you more factual information and the source data to back it up than the entirety of the Democrat co-opted and run mainstream media. Whom do you trust more? A total stranger who's giving you the details, or the media who promises you, no, that's not what's going on. Right. Well, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want you to hear the moment that MSNBC realizes they poked the wrong bear. And that bear's name is Ross Vogt. Next. You gotta love. She's like, I paid attention, and then I took it a step further. She drops all the things that Caroline Levitt just dropped, and then she goes a step further and gives you the number: 1.2 million illegals getting these benefits.
And how does this fit?
This is what Carlos Gracias, isn't that his name? Carlos Gracias. He's friends with the David Sachs and Elon Musk, and all of them. Is it Carlos? No, what's his name? Gracias. Antonio Gracias?
I think that's it.
He's a billionaire tech guy, And he started doing some of the work with Doge, specifically to find out how many illegals were getting these benefits that you pay for. And this dude is a Democrat. He's like, what are we doing? Exactly. Again, Democrats need to take a really long, hard look in the mirror because this is them.
Not just that. What's this sound familiar to? There are no illegals voting.
Yes. Yes.
Same story. When you put that hardcore.
How many is too many?
One.
One to me is too many.
Not one is voting illegal.
Absolutely never ever happen. Never, not one penny. You're like, that's a lot of absolutes. I'm not so sure you want to do that. So Dr. Darren Dubiak and his team at bodybyAim360.com, they encourage you to get involved, to take charge of your health and your wellness, and to say, you know what, something's not right with me. Something's not right. I don't feel right. My joints hurt. I've got inflammation. My gut is all gurgly. I'm overweight. Nothing I'm doing is moving the needle. Wouldn't you like to know what's going on with your body down at the cellular level? I would. And that is why Dr. Dubiak offers you for $199, which is ridiculous. It's so cheap. Oh my gosh. If you would spend probably $1,500, $2,000 to get all this blood work done if your PCP arranged it. 80 different biomarkers, all these different hormones. Men, do you have low testosterone? Because if you do, that's going to be a problem for your weight loss, right? How about your cholesterol? How about all of these different things that play a role in your well-being and your ability to look the way you wish? Dr. Dubiak and his team at bodybyAim360.com offer you that roadmap. Get in touch with them. 412-927. Oh, I hope I did it right. Oh, 227. 412, I still don't have it memorized. 227-9255. 412-227-9255. This is like the most personalized, data-driven care you're ever going to receive. Brock lost 70 pounds. Brock is on it again, or working with Dr. Dubiak again. Just had his blood test done last Friday. Get some results this week.
Yep.
Because he wants to drop another 20, maybe 25. So you watch it again. Do you want to join along? Because you can. 412-227-9255. BodybyAim360.com. It works.
I'm just trying to avoid all the, getting older, trying to avoid all the pills that they're going to throw at you to combat.
Try going through menopause. Everybody wants to throw hormone replacement therapy at you. And, oh, I've got something for that. And I'm like, or I just sweat it out, literally. That's when I'm like, okay, whatever. But who looks fabulous having a hot flash? I do. Power surge.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's not really, you know what? That's not very convincing. So whatevs.
I'm just gonna. I'm done. Just.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. WendyBellRadio.com. If you'd like to join the live video stream all 3 hours, nobody else in radio does this. We do this for you, and we invite you to join our family. You know, I say this is really the moment that MSNBC realized over the weekend that this whole government Schumer shutdown thing that's gone on, it's all about the politics. It's all about the gamesmanship. Really yet a real in-your-face confirmation that the Democrats don't give a fat rip about average Americans, right? Well, it's when Russ Vought, the budget controller, the Office of Management and Budget Director, he started slashing some projects. This is reporter Vaughn Hilliard, and he's on the case over at MSNBC, and he says Vought is going to carve $2 billion in construction projects in Chicago. Listen.
The president put on a social media post a picture of Russ Vought and said all eyes are on Russ Vought today. And I don't want to oversimplify what is so very not simple with the government shutdown, but effectively you have an OMB director out of the White House who is effectively running the federal government and making massive decisions here. They could potentially cripple some of these agencies, which we should be clear, as he wrote in Project 2025, he has argued that some of these agencies are too big and have hurt Americans. And so from his vantage point, he has been empowered by the president to move forward with these firings. And then on top of that are the cuts, the budget cuts, that he has been very clear that he has the power to decide what projects get allotted money. And as Speaker Johnson said yesterday, it is a subjective decision, one to advance this administration's priorities. And just this morning, in a tweet, Russ Vought, he made clear that there is another project specifically in Chicago that is set to, at least for now, get withholding of funds, saying $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the Red and Purple modernization project, have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. Yesterday, he threatened 2 infrastructure projects here in New York. He threatened 16 other Democratic-led states in green energy projects. And when we're talking about this Red Line extension in Chicago, I know most people don't live in Chicago, but for those that do, this is a 5.5-mile extension that has been talked about for decades, went through this contracting process, and is currently moving forward up until this moment here. And this was a line that was a rail line that was going into the far south side of Chicago, a largely minority, low-income population that has never been served by a rail line to give them access to the rest of Chicago. These are the types of projects that we are talking about this White House using the shutdown to halt funding for.
It's a very disingenuous and dangerous tack that the MSNBC reporter Von Hilliard is taking. He wants you to believe that because this is a rail line extension, transportation in a minority area, that somehow it's punitive for blacks and Hispanics, that this Trump administration, they don't care about you. They want you to walk everywhere. They're racist. No, what Russ Vought was saying is we've got some questions about how you guys chose the contractors who got these bids. How did you do that? Because if it was race-based contracting, we have concerns about that. FoxBusiness.com. The Trump administration is pausing $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects to make sure that funding is not flowing via race-based contracting, Russ Vought announced Friday. $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the Red and Purple modernization project, have been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. Look, this is something that we should all agree on, right? I don't think it should matter if you're a lesbian, if you're black, if you're an Indian, or what have you. If you're the best contractor who offers the best price in a competitive bidding situation, then that should go to you. Well, Russ Vought has some serious concerns about that, and some serious concerns about New York City as well. The development comes after the Department of Transportation said it also issued letters to New York to inform them that their 2 mega projects, the 2nd Avenue subway and the Hudson Tunnel, are under administrative review to determine whether any unconstitutional practices are occurring. Illinois, like New York, this is a DOT speaking, they're well known to promote race and sex-based contracting and other racial preferences as a public policy. Well, we've unwound that, ladies and gentlemen. We've tried to get it out of our colleges and universities. As a mom of 5 white, straight, Catholic boys, I can tell you, the pendulum has been against the white man for a very long time. Is that what's going on in these contracts? I don't know. But now that we're in a government shutdown, why don't we take a closer look? That's racist, say the Democrats. No, that's called oversight. say the conservatives. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my goodness, hour number 2, Schumer shutdown costs. Let's go into some of these big projects that are under review. No wonder Chuck's got his boxers in a bunch. Next. He's more of a tighty-whitey guy, I bet.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Whatever. To each his own.
And he probably yanks him up to his nipples.
That's just a look I wasn't needing to have put into my mind.
Yeah, well, you all know.
Really wasn't where I was going, but okie dokie. Blood Flow 7. Blood Flow 7. Look, I'm super getting panicky now because I put in the order for it and it hasn't arrived. And that makes me a little nervous. Blood Flow 7. Are you feeling sluggish? I hate that feeling. I've been sluggish for 3 weeks because of whatever this COVID debacle I've had is. I feel sluggish. I feel like, ugh. Like if you gave me a tube of toothpaste, I'd be like, eh, right? Tired, kind of like, ugh.
Slow motion.
Yes. Well, sometimes it's because you're sick, and other times it's maybe because your circulation isn't what you think it is. And maybe your body's not getting enough blood all over the place, from your brain to your nose down to your toes. And nitric oxide is a very important part of that whole process. It's a molecule that helps your blood vessels and arteries get bigger, right? So more blood can go through. And what does that do for you? Well, it's pretty significant. It means more oxygen and more nutrients all to your body, to your brain, to your heart, to your muscles, and even places that might need a little extra help as you age. Bloodflow7.com. It's from Juvenon. Makes me very sad to hold up an empty thing. I love this supplement. Really, really love it. And I think that the most two big things for me was how I've told you how I feel when I exercise. I don't peter out when I have Blood Flow 7 in my system a couple hours before I exercise. I just don't. I don't hit the wall. I don't need to stop as much. Sometimes you have to stop, get your breath. But my stamina, my focus, and then at night, you're like, good night. That is bloodflow7.com/Wendy. If you're interested in trying it, let me know how you feel about it. Try it for a couple of weeks and tell me, wendybellradio@gmail.com. You know, I love your interactions. Right? Right. Oh my, I got so many great companies to talk about today. So what's going on with you guys? How's everybody? Let's see. Oops. Let's see what you guys are up to. I have so many open tabs right now. It's not even funny. All right. So we're trying to get up to 3. We got 8,200, almost 8,300 on Rumble. Hi. So glad you're here. Right? You're probably flipping through the channels and you're like, who is that really interesting person? I know, right? Thank you.
Hit that follow button.
That saved me. Brock saved me from a very uncomfortable pause. 2.72. We have 280 to go to hit that magic 3,000. So the Rumble is that thumbs up button underneath the video box. And you get a vote. You get to register your opinion. So you like me, you don't like me, but you're here and I'm happy no matter what. So, and then if you hit follow, that's the button just to the left of it. We're trying to get to 75,000 follows by the end of the year.
I'd like to do it by the end of November so we can relax.
I know. And then I don't have to hump it. Right? Telling you, I've got the bat out, the pinatas, like, stop it. Leave me alone. 278, 220 to go. You guys are rocking it. Thank you. 8,300 on Rumble. That's wonderful. So I think we need to go in a little bit more detail with how Russ Vought is the bear they poked and didn't mean to. I'm sure they wished he was going back into hibernation, going off into a deep slumber somewhere and not poised to scrutinize their projects. Well, how did you develop that contract? How did you award that individual that contract? Because they have a terrific track record. Where's the money going? Talking about billions in federal U.S. taxpayer dollars. Shouldn't we know? Like, do we need another, rail line to nowhere in California that's cost how many tens of billions of dollars? Like, at some point, people have to be like, enough already.
Do we really care about the
No.
rail in Chicago? Why would those people not in that area? These are the areas that Chicago politicians have let go to hell. Who's going to take the rail there?
Well, yeah.
I mean, seriously, like, those people obviously can't take the rail to get out on a permanent basis. So
I'm also curious if the mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina has approved what the House did there, which is the Arenas law, because I know that he was wrestling with it. I'm like, a woman got her throat slashed.
And
she was murdered.
But climate change is racist and math is racist.
Don't show your work.
But someone yelling, I killed me, the white woman.
I killed that white
Not
kid.
racist.
No.
Good, got it.
No.
And it makes total sense.
You know what? You're very conspiratorial today. I don't know what happened to you over the weekend.
Well, I got a new shipment of tin foil in.
Did you?
Yeah.
Reynolds wrap.
Yeah.
Got a little extra.
Yeah.
You got the
I'm gonna just
non-stick
I'm
Reynolds
just
wrap.
gonna start wrapping my entire body in it.
There you go.
Maybe that's what I'll be for Halloween.
Just wrap yourself.
No,
in
I'm gonna wear a
giant
tinfoil
Reynolds.
hat.
Yeah.
That's it. Tinfoil hat. Make a tinfoil hat.
I'd love to see you do that. You'd probably just take a ball cap and cover it with tinfoil, right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. That's thinking outside the box, Brock.
Well, can't afford the costume. They're expensive.
They are expensive. If only you worked harder. 2.85. Let's go. 150. Come on. Yes. We're in a commercial break, obviously. So we're coming out right now.
4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of gold, truth, and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Day 6 of the Schumer shutdown. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends. Delighted as always to share some common sense conservative values with you. Look, I'm not going to tell you anything today. I'm not going to tell you anything tomorrow that is anything beyond common sense, right? And it makes sense. It's common sense. And the Democrats want you to believe, no. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Don't believe your checking account. Don't believe your borders. Don't believe what's going on in your towns. Don't believe the price of goods, right? Listen to us. We've got you. Yeah, about that. No, thank you. So this is so great because you've got Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, right? The two leaders of the two chambers, both from New York. And what is Russ Vought doing, the guy in charge of the budget, who's now granted basically unilateral control over slashing of things which I voted for. How about you guys? 77 million of us? Yeah. Shrinking of the federal government, shrinking of the budget, shrinking of what you and I are supposed to be paying for because so much of it is garbage. Well, here's Russ Vogt, born to do what he's currently doing. You know, for decades, Democrats, they've kind of rolled the dice with this, and they have met an administration now that is seizing this opportunity while the government is being held hostage by Democrats who not only want to fund all of your public television garbage, which is their greatest pipeline of propaganda into your television sets ever, right? They don't realize now that this Russ Vogt is, he's going to target New York pretty hard. And all those pet projects that Hakeem and Chuck have probably campaigned on and convinced their constituents, we got it covered. Don't you worry about it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, about that. So Russ Vogt over the weekend dropped the hammer on Schumer and Jeffries. $8 billion in New York funding is now frozen. Wait, what? Yeah. The Hudson Tunnel Project and the Second Avenue subway extension, which are crown jewels of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries' New York empire, are suddenly on ice. Why? Well, because Russ Vogt made it crystal clear. Federal dollars will not be spent on projects warped by unconstitutional DEI mandates, which is why on Inauguration Day, one of the first executive orders President Trump signed back on January 20th of this year was a rollback of all of these policies in the federal government all the way down to where you and I are. For decades, Democrats have treated the federal treasury like their own personal piggy bank, and far too many Republicans let them get away with it. Now, these Democrats demand billions for infrastructure in New York City and then quietly lace the contracts with race-based quotas and equity requirements and woke nonsense that has absolutely nothing to do with pouring concrete or laying steel. It's always been about power. It's been about patronage. It's been about ideology. It's a race to the bottom. And every time, taxpayers from Iowa to Ohio foot the bill. Not this time. Vogt's move landed like a thunderclap. Billions that Schumer and Jeffries were counting on vanished overnight. Projects they bragged about back home are now stalled because their gravy train runs on DEI fuel. And when the watchdogs, furloughed by the shutdown, can't rubber stamp the spending anymore, the money doesn't move. Well, that's when you've got to cue the outrage. Governor Kathy Hochul already screaming about political payback. Sounds kind of revengey, doesn't it? I think so. Schumer and Jeffries, they're totally panicking because they know their constituents are going to blame them when the subway extension stalls and the Hudson Tunnel grinds to a halt. But let's be clear about this. It's not sabotage. This is accountability. This is what happens when you build billion-dollar projects on an unconstitutional foundation. The left has grown way too comfortable with shutdown theater. They threaten chaos. They point fingers, and then they quietly cash their checks while the rest of America pays the price. But this time the script is flipped, and Vogt did not blink. He froze their money. He told them if you can't build without woke ideology, you don't get to build at all. And that is why this very moment matters. It's proof that conservatives don't have to sit back and complain about waste and woke overreach. With the right leadership. Hello. We can choke off these slush funds. We can dry up all of the equity mandates. We can put America first, make America great again, and how our money is spent. And so let the Democrats howl. Let the media rage. At the end of the day, $18 billion is totally locked up. New York's political machine just got kneecapped, and Schumer and Jeffries are left explaining to their voters why their pet projects are stalled. Well, the message is clear. Unleash Rust vote. Period. And this is what Schumer and Jeffries have gotten. They poked the wrong bear. There's a reason Donald Trump made him director of the Office of Management and Budget, not once, but twice. So what happened over the weekend? Well, we hear Washington Representative Democrat Adam Smith. He admits on News Nation the Democrats are basically holding the government hostage so they don't lose their leverage. Oh, so it really is all about politics. Got it. Listen.
But you heard the latest there from the speaker and others, what they're saying, and basically is, hey, same thing. If the Democrats voted for the clean CR, we could open it up and discuss and negotiate from there. Why is that not something that the Democrats are open to right now?
Well, we lose our leverage right at that point. And thus far this year, Republicans have governed in a purely partisan one-party rule without talking to us or including us in anything. And look, they got the votes to do that. I guess that's what their power grants them the ability to do. But in so doing, they've destroyed any sort of sense, certainly on the Democratic side, that we're going to be dealt with in good faith. So they need our votes to continue. Now is the time when we actually have leverage to have that conversation and at least give us something other than a vague future promise.
What exact leverage do they have? I'm totally fuzzy on this. And I love how he's clutching his proverbial pearls. He's like, they have all of the control. They're doing things their way. That's not fair. Yeah, see, that's the referendum that we voted on in November. It was called You Suck. You're bad for America. You've overrun our country with illegals. How many people have died at the hands of these people? How many programs have you wasted tens of our billions of dollars? And how many Americans would like their money back? I'm going to say everybody. Adam, I love this too. They ram things down our throats and they're not acting like they want to negotiate. Oh, kind of like the Affordable Care Act. You remember that? Remember when they brought it out and they were like, yay, this is so great. And there were how many Republican votes? 0. That would be 0 for the non-Spanish speakers out there. 0 Republicans voted for that suck legislation, which, by the way, has reared its ugly head in this whole budget debate, right? Democrats want you to believe that Republicans are going to let Obamacare subsidies run out. And Republicans are saying, yo, we just wanted to keep the government open for 7 weeks so we could get all of these appropriations bills out. And then we could sit down and hammer out the details before all this stuff runs out at the end of the year. Don't lie to the people any more than you already do. And yet that's all they know. Did you guys know that the Democrats won $157 million? They tucked it into their little package to go back to Speaker Mike Johnson with. They won $157 million to upgrade their own personal home security systems. They already get $10,000 a month per member for their own personal security detail. And now they want $157 to get home security systems. Do you know who wants that? Oh, I'm going to go with the people in freaking Portland across from the ICE facility. I'm going to go with the people who live in the apartment complex that ICE just raided, where they found 37 freaking Tren de Aragua gang members, and they arrested them. I'm pretty sure that those residents would kind of like a little extra security too, right? Right. So who's going to protect the rest of us from people like the criminal illegal alien who was freed 5 times under Joe Biden, who was just arrested over the weekend outside the Portland ICE facility? We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the word games that these Democrats like to play to avoid the facts. Don't call them illegal aliens. Call them asylees or parolees, right? Asylees. Give me a break. Let's go there. Talking Truth next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We will use that sound. So there's this woman, more and more people, so exciting to watch, doing their own research. Don't rely on the news anymore. You got to wake up and snap out of it, right? You got to take charge of your information. And if you're getting bad information, you got to ditch that source. People are realizing that, which is why trust in the media has bottomed out at another all-time low. Aw. HealthyCell.com. HealthyCell.com. I've been taking Healthy Cell now for about 6 weeks. This is Karen. I deal with anxiety and worry from time to time, and it can be so stressful. I have found that Healthy Cell's Calm does exactly what it says it does. It keeps me calm. It does not mask my emotions, but it allows me to manage them, right? So apparently she gets stressed riding in the car. She has panic attacks, feels anxiety. She's like, well, I can be a terrible car passenger, but I noticed the other day I was not affected. What a total relief. I love the fact that worrying is not a major issue for me anymore now that I take Calm from Healthy Cell. Again, Healthy Cell. This is a micro gel. All of their supplements, there's like 15 or 20 of them. They're fantastic. All of these come in this easy to tear off gel. Great flavors, great nutrients, supplements, everything for you. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. If you stress out and you don't want to take pills, you don't want to be a prescription pad your whole life, HealthyCell.com/Wendy. I love this company. Love. I would make it throb if I could. That's how much I love Healthy Cell. Ask Brock. I take it every day. He's drinking my healthy fat today, by the way.
I made a mistake.
Whatever.
It is tasty.
It is tasty. I agree. 100%. Let's see how you guys are doing. Let's see. 3.04, 7,800. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let's go. 1,000 to go. All right.
This healthcare, this subsidies that they're screaming and yelling about, you're once again, just by extending them, you're not dealing with the problem. The problem is they're treating healthcare like they treat student loans. They're paying these hospitals. Why are they these insurance companies? Why are they ever going to change when the government's just writing them a free check?
Exactly.
Why are college tuitions ever going to go down if the government's like, no, we'll give Johnny, who has no right. They gave me $130,000
how much in student loans?
to go to college.
Wow.
I had no right. I had no ability to pay that back except over 30 years. Like, really?
It's having a second mortgage. It's worse.
I couldn't afford a mortgage. What are you talking about?
Right. Right. Thank God you got hooked up with me and made a decent wage. Yay, me. Nothing? Wow.
I'm working.
Noted.
I'm working.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. You know, that people are doing their own homework, that we no longer believe what we see on the news. I mean, honest to goodness, who trusts the news? I trust no one. We hunt, we peck, we find, we share. I believe we give you the greatest aggregate news, the things that are really important on this program. Well, here is a woman in her car, and she's going to tell you what Democrats actually put in their proposal. It is an unserious proposal. It was a non-starter at go, and she finds out the sordid little details.
So I read the continuing resolution proposal that the Democrats sent out so that you didn't have to, and I'm going to tell you what's inside of it. This is a continuing resolution bill. This is to keep the government open for another 6 more weeks. First, nearly $500 million, like $490 million, goes straight to PBS. How is that prioritizing the American people? Secondly, they want $157 million set aside for Congress itself. They want additional security for members of Congress, residential security systems, and $10 million for upgrades in security to the state office. I'm sorry, but average Americans are living in cities that are ridden with crime. Oh, but that's not even the best part. They are asking for $174,000 each in death gratuities to 3 dead members of Congress. It's tragic, and I'm sorry for the loss of those members of Congress. But ordinary Americans don't get 6-figure payouts from Congress when one of our family members dies. So why are we paying for them?
100%. Who else is waking up out there? You know, and the left wants to tell you, Democrats want to tell you, no. We're not giving all this free stuff to illegal aliens. No, we didn't open the border. Joe Biden even said, well, if Congress would do its job, and then all of a sudden, day one, Trump closes the border. He says, well, apparently we didn't need Congress. We just needed a new president, right? Did you hear about this guy? Armed illegal alien who was freed 5 times under Joe Biden's administration. 5 times. Was arrested outside that Houston ICE office where Nick Sorter took a punch to the face. On October 2nd, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement announced the arrest of Jose Andres Rodriguez Torres, a criminal alien from Mexico, who was taken into custody outside that ICE office after officers discovered he was armed with a knife and was in possession of a crack pipe. Sounds like a lovely new addition to the American tapestry. Rodriguez Torres' arrest is not an isolated incident. It's a culmination of years of repeated illegal entries and criminal conduct that have gone unchecked due to weak enforcement under the Biden administration. Joe Biden didn't have good people in charge. He didn't want good people in charge. There's no way you wouldn't have Alejandro Mayorkas in charge if there were good quality people who were going to be put there. You wouldn't have Merrick Garland as your attorney general if you actually gave a rip about law and order, right? Come on. The individual has crossed the border illegally 5 times. This is Rodriguez Torres we're talking about, which, by the way, is a felony times 5. And despite a prior encounter with ICE following a burglary arrest in Seattle last year, fantastic. He broke into somebody's house or business. Super duper. He was released rather than deported. The decision allowed him to continue threatening communities until his latest incident. According to ICE, Rodriguez Torres approached the restricted employee parking lot at the Houston ICE facility before officers confronted him. By the way, this is where the judge says, yeah, I don't really think all those protests, they don't really rise to the level of importance that would demand the National Guard. I don't think the president should do that. In fact, you can't. Really? I wonder if that judge would love to come hang out outside the ICE facility with this Rodriguez Torres and his gun or his knife and his crack pipe, right? Officers then observed a sheathed knife on his waist. The search revealed a glass pipe, blah, blah, blah. The gravity of the situation underscored by Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin. A criminal illegal alien released back into this country 5 times is outside the ICE facility in Portland. Anybody find that curious? Maybe he answered an ad for Crowds on Demand, right? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the National Guard rolls into Memphis. What's that like? Next. Sounds like a lovely guy. He was first arrested.
Pillar of the community.
Yeah. He was first arrested near Tecate, California, December 2012. Oh, goody. He's been here for a while. Voluntarily returned to Mexico 2 years later in 2014. He got back into the country 3 separate times in less than 2 weeks. Well, that would have been by Obama, right? At an unknown date, he entered for a 5th time without inspection, an offense carrying felony consequences. It's so easy for criminal illegal aliens to exploit U.S. immigration loopholes. No duh. Makes you hate everybody. The healthy fat. So tell me, Brock, seriously, how do you like it?
It's gone.
Really?
I drank it already, yeah.
It's just the right amount of sweet without being sugary, where you're like...
You just have a hint of the blueberry, which is really nice.
MCT Wellness, it's called The Healthy Fat, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. So the end game of having a healthy weight, in addition to more energy and a long, healthy life, comes down to a specific switch that Dr. Gundry has identified that you can flip in your body to flush out unnecessary calories. And in fact, the cardiothoracic surgeon, who is a pediatric heart transplant specialist, right? Like he's not too busy with that. He's decided to invent this, which is a phenomenal weight loss supplement, right? A dietary supplement. He said he lost 70 pounds drinking it. Wait a minute. I put it in water and I drink it 1 or 2 times a day instead of eating a meal. Yeah. And people lost 70 pounds, including him. Yeah. And he's kept it off for 25 years. Yeah. That's what it is. I don't know how much easier it could be. Significant weight loss, slow, steady. Slow, steady. Have you ever seen somebody lose a lot of weight real fast and you're like, everything kind of hangs on them? Not with this. Nice and steady. Let your body get used to your new size, allows you to exercise, right? Firm up your muscles and your skin. MCT Wellness, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Get rid of those unwanted calories that your body is storing away like squirrels with acorns. I don't need you holding on to my calories. Get them out. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Very much like his products. Every day drink them. $7,800 people are wondering what the hell is going on.
With what?
There's an awkward silence. Brock was probably playing some game on his phone, so he wasn't involved.
No, I was getting a text message about what I needed to do later today, which I don't need to do. The person finally got back to my brother and said,
I'll be there.
No.
Oh.
I'm out of town.
Oh.
Oh. Then why didn't you say that from the start?
Yeah. Little inside baseball there.
Yeah, I needed to.
Dealing with the public is aggravating. I'll leave it at that.
Yes.
As you all know, for sure. 3.17. So 330 gets us to that magic 3.5. And then we have a whole hour to limp 500 more to the finish line. We haven't gotten 4,000 in a while during the show. We can have dead air on Rumble because we are watching. Oh, okay. Brock's on Grindr again.
What's Grindr?
I don't know. It's probably some, I don't know. Is it gay dudes? I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh yeah. That's totally me.
That's so his MO.
Yeah.
You got it. Bing, bing, bing.
I don't think I could ever do online dating.
Yeah, I think that would be hard.
That would just be,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
No, I think people are going to start, like I met my husband in a bar.
I could do that.
It's a very sexy story. In a bar playing pool.
Did you let him win?
He alleged that he let me win. He probably did. He's a much better player than I am. But that's a nice thing. You don't have to be a schmuck about it.
Who?
But he does, like him, like
Oh.
in moment, he didn't feel like he had to beat me. But he does like to tell people how nice he was to let me win. I'm like, that's really off-putting. Couple of weeks,
wouldn't let you
Gizmo.
win.
Couple of weeks, you're right.
What?
Since we hit 4K.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let you win.
280 to go to hit 3.5. Yeah, it's for the gays, Lloyd says.
Yeah.
It seems like not a very nice way of calling them gay, but okay. But whatever, it's true. Gino, I don't think Kate would like you online dating.
Yeah.
I think we're, yes.
I would tend to agree with that.
Qfish says online dating is horrible. Yeah, you know what? I would put a picture of myself like the bad hair picture so that when I showed up, it would be a pleasant surprise. The person would be like, oh God, thank God.
If they show up at all.
I was really rolling the dice with this one.
Why would they show up at all?
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I think it is so interesting that Democrats are in complete pushback mode over the president and his administration doing anything to stop violence, to stop Antifa, domestic terrorist organization. Look, and by the way, Trump also signed an executive order saying that if you burn the American flag, you get a year in jail. Well, I was watching some of Nick Sorter's stuff over the weekend, the journalist who was assaulted outside the Portland ICE facility over the weekend, who then was arrested for God knows what, taking a punch. And there were all sorts of people burning American flags. Well, I hope he saves his video because I'm pretty sure that the Department of Justice would like to be able to identify who was doing that. Yes? Hi. Good luck. That's a year in jail. Suck it. Can't wait for that to become actual reality. Let's go to Memphis, all right? Let's focus on Memphis. 13 federal and state agencies are on the ground to back up the Memphis Police Department. And they've already found, and this is the story that has been buried. This is the lead of the story. They found 5 missing kids. I'm sorry? 5 missing kids. And the Democrats want us to believe that what the president is doing is strong-arming some authoritarian control of Democrat-run cities because he's trying to create optics for this or that. No. If you listen to the people who live in these communities, particularly the Black residents, because like I said, opening monologue, these people are flooding social media saying, yeah, I voted for that. Memphis has a murder rate that is 344% over the national average. We've had 150 murders so far this year, the highest violent crime and the highest property crime rates in the country. But I'm sure everything's going swimmingly there. Pam Bondi put out a tweet about the first 72 hours on the ground in Memphis. And this is an all of government thing. She said in just 72 hours, our Memphis Safe Task Force, that's what they've created, these 13 agencies, is making an incredible impact on this iconic American city. Yesterday, 40 arrests were made, including a Tren de Aragua terrorist, a felon in possession of a firearm, a man wanted for the rape of a child, and an arrest for assault on a federal officer. To date, and again, this is a day old, there have been 93 arrests and 28 illegal guns seized. Our work is saving lives, she says. And she says, my message, Pam Bondi's message to law enforcement is simple. We have your back. Go out and do what cops do. The work has been going on with Kash Patel and the FBI for a while now. It hasn't gotten the splash and the coverage it should have. But dating back, Marsha Blackburn says, Senator Blackburn says, dating back to July 15th in Memphis. And she says the progress we've already made on the streets there, God forbid we should want to do anything in Portland, even to protect the ICE facility and the federal buildings. At a minimum, Marsha Blackburn says the progress we've seen in Memphis is jaw-dropping. Listen.
That Memphis was one of the most dangerous cities in the country. And when Kash Patel came to see me before his confirmation hearing with us at Senate Judiciary Committee, I handed him a sheet of stats that showed the crime levels in Memphis and asked for his help. In July, we started an FBI approach in Memphis. They worked with the Memphis PD from July 15th to September 15th. They arrested over 500 gang members. And as you see now, with 13 federal and state agencies on the ground in Memphis to back up the Memphis police, the results are stunning. They've been able to target where these gangs are located, to go in and find these offenders, to apprehend them, to get them to court. Many of these are federal charges, and our U.S. attorney will be taking those cases to court. And people want these gangs, these criminals, locked up off the streets.
Yeah, but Democrats don't. You ever wonder why? They need you in terror. They need you fighting. They need you busy. They need you worried about everything that's going on. So you can't watch what they're freaking doing, which is spending billions of your federal taxpayer dollars on projects like the one in New York, 2 of them in New York, 2 of them in Chicago, that might have some race-based contracting issues and woke DEI initiatives that are unconstitutional, by the way. So here's a guy. He has traveled to Memphis. He does some kind of a delivery. Sounds like he's in medical care, delivery of supplies, normally goes to the hospital to make his drop of whatever it is, and has gone back to Memphis, and he says, oh my goodness, you won't believe what I saw.
Just got back from Memphis. When I tell you, Memphis is a totally different place right now. For real. I did not know that President Trump was sending them guys down there. And when I say it's police everywhere, for real though, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I ain't never seen Memphis like this before. Because I go down there and drop off a load at the hospital. You know, you see your normal scragglies, whatever. You know what I mean? Hospital, I don't know why hospital's always a place where they won't hang out at, but it is what it is. But traffic was different. Police is on every corner. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking that they was gonna send them guys to Chicago. I know. See, I don't go to Chicago, so I wouldn't know that anyway. But boy, Memphis, boy, I know they people's like, yes, crime is slowed down. I mean, it look like a totally different city right now. The vibes are different. I don't know. I guess it's just me, man. But Memphis changing for the good, y'all. As they should. The people need that, though. The people need to stop all this riffraff and all this craziness these young kids got going on, man. Scared to leave your house, scared to go to the grocery store, scared to go to the gas station. One time, I wouldn't even go to certain gas stations if I see too many of them out there. For real, I'd keep it pushing. I wouldn't give a damn if I'm about to run out of gas. I'm going to keep it pushing. So, right now, it's a totally different breed down there right now, boy. I mean, I'm talking about the whole boatload is down there. Police everywhere, boy. You know what I'm saying? So I know the people like, yo, we needed this. And I agree with them. I agree with the people. They do need that. They need peace and love.
Peace and love. You know where you're not finding the gangs and these problems? Oh, in the white communities. But who's in the black communities protesting ICE arresting people who are terrorizing the black communities? Oh, the old washed up white hippies with their banjos and their awful hats. Got it. Isn't it so weird? It's like the Democrats want all of the madness and the mayhem in the inner cities. And black people are waking up saying, why? Donald Trump wants to fix it. I want it fixed. I'm going to pay attention to him. Oh, my. So that gentleman just talked about the Chicago. He's like, you see what's going on in Chicago? Yeah. Donald Trump to send 300 National Guard troops into Chicago after more violent clashes. You guys hear what happened over the weekend? Oh, that's right. Just on Friday in Chicago, where everything is perfect. Look around. It's beautiful. People are running in races. People are outside strolling by the waterfront. Really? 15 people got shot just on Friday. 5 of them dead. How many people do you think of those dead live in white upper class neighborhoods? Oh, I'm going to go with probably zero. Chicago Sun-Times hasn't released the numbers yet. Here is a gentleman who's calling out black Chicagoans for crying racism for ICE agents deporting the illegals that Lori Lightfoot let resettle into the black communities.
Black people in Chicago, let's get this clear for the record so nobody is confused, right? In 2020 and 2021, when Democrats, specifically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, flooded Chicago with the illegal, undocumented criminal invaders, y'all didn't have nothing to say about that, right? When the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, gave them benefits, millions, prepaid EBT cards with $10,000 on it, prepaid Visa cards, 6 months worth of free rent, free health care, free child care, y'all were okay with that. And then you all continue to be okay with it by going out and voting for Kamala Harris to continue what she was doing with the open borders, right? Now that ICE is there to actually do something about it, right? With Trump's mandate, now you all are boohoo, whining and crying, complaining that ICE is coming to black neighborhoods. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Where else are they supposed to go when that's where y'all allowed them to go? You see, Democrats didn't put these illegals in Oak Brook or Oak Park or Evanston, in any of the white neighborhoods, yet you got the white liberals downtown protesting to keep those people there because they know that they're in black neighborhoods. And y'all goofy. Y'all falling for this. Y'all voted for Kamala Harris, and now y'all are protesting ICE coming to black neighborhoods to remove these criminal invaders. Y'all are calling ICE racist for coming to the black neighborhoods. Well, why are they coming to the black neighborhoods? Because that's where you all allowed them to go. So tell me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave without telling me you a goofy Democrat plantation slave.
Darn well, who made his city unsafe? Democrats. Period. So let's review. President Trump has had to send National Guard troops to cities due to extreme crime, right? The last Republican mayor in those cities, let's see, Washington, D.C. Never Republican mayor. Chicago. It's been 94 years since a conservative ran Chicago. How many times are you going to keep allowing people who don't deserve your trust, who actively seek to destroy your communities, to keep winning? Portland. It's been 45 years since they had a Republican mayor. Memphis, 54 years. Los Angeles, 24. You see a trend? Seems like anything the Democrats touch. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the Trump administration sweetens the incentive to unaccompanied minors who came into this country without anybody to get them to go back home. And it might just do the trick. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Dr. Simkovich and the Simkovich Concussion Institute. Our mutual friend, I believe, is getting some movement with her appointment at the Simkovich Concussion Institute. And I love this about Dr. Simkovich. I'd reached out to Doc and his wife, Stacy, who runs his practice. And this Concussion Institute, this is pretty spectacular. Traumatic brain injury and concussions, people who suffer from chronic headaches. You don't need to be on prescriptions. You don't need to be in a dark room. You don't need your whole life to be upside down. You just need to call 412-366-3700. And I mean that. It's not some gimmick. So I reached out to Dr. Simkovich and his wife, Stacy, about our mutual friend who has pretty significant tremors. And I thought, I don't know. Maybe there's nothing he can do, right? Maybe it is what it is. But what if it isn't? What if there is something he can do? What if there is help? I have to seek it out, right? So I connected my friend with the Simkovich Concussion Institute and stepped out of the way, and they've managed everything. And Dr. Simkovich asked that she got certain tests done by her PCP. She had to go get an MRI, blood work, and other things. And now she's finished those, and she's going to be able to meet with Dr. Simkovich to see, is there something that he might be able to do? I don't know the answer, but I'm going to tell you, having hope is more than half of the battle. Finding the right expert is the other half. Dr. Simkovich, SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. If you guys are a prayerful sort, please say a prayer for our friend. I really, really hope that she gets some help.
You know what else makes me angry about them protesting coming to Portland or Chicago is they were A-OK during COVID to take license plates of people who went to church. In Minnesota, where they were walking down the street shooting paintballs at people coming out of their house. How is that any different? Why is it okay? Well, we know. I was going to say, why is it okay when the Democrats do it, but having someone come in and make your community safer, it makes no sense to me. Give me safe streets. There's a shooting on the south side on Saturday in the middle of the day, a block from where I was going to be, and decided, I'm not going to go down. Thank God. Can't even walk down the street anymore.
Yeah, it's preposterous. Let's see how you guys are doing. See, I avoided for a little while, and then I go back and I find out we're still 100 short, 110. That's okay. We can totally do it. That little bubble underneath the video box, if you haven't hit that, if you haven't rumbled, which is your vote, please, and then go on over and hit the follow button. Doesn't cost you anything.
Mm-mm.
We don't bother you.
Doesn't cost you to follow either.
We don't bother you.
This is for Russ Vote.
I love him. Badass. No, he's just a normal guy and probably a giant nerd, which is why I love him. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Russ Vote song there. I love it. So I saw this article at the Daily Caller today. You know, this administration is trying to do everything that's reasonable and that is fair to encourage people who've come into this country because they were incentivized by the Biden administration to do so. To get them to go back home, to get them to leave. They've said, look, you want to come through the right channels? We would love to have you. You want to come to this country and you want to contribute. You want to assimilate. You want to learn the history of this country. You want to understand its founding. You want to understand what the Constitution is, the Declaration of Independence is. You want to hold the American flag and be a part of the greatest place on planet Earth. We want that for you. But you're not going to get it if you don't leave. That is a guarantee. How abundantly clear can we be about this? We're going to give you, right? When was the last time anybody gave you $1,000? We're going to give you $1,000 cash. We're going to give you a free ticket to travel back to your home. And when you're there, and you let us know through the CBP Home app, we're going to make sure you get that $1,000. $1,000 to a lot of these people who came into this country illegally is a lot of life-changing money. Well, President Trump has a different idea for the children who came in this country, unaccompanied, many of whom probably suffered unspeakable harm. Going through the Darien Gap, being handed off to a travel advisor, aka cartel member, to guide your way through a dangerous stretch of land where people die commonly, getting stuck in the mud, where many were raped and worse. There's nothing humane about that. There is nothing kind or gracious or good about putting on the vacancy sign at the border and encouraging people to do terrible things. Send your child here alone. I'm sure that'll work out. And we've got, what, 500,000 of these children? The Biden administration lost them. Didn't care. I mean, how many things do I have to say to you that are so contrary to what this country is all about? Well, the Trump administration is now reportedly trying to get unaccompanied minor illegal aliens to go back home, go back to your families, go back to your world. We're going to give you $2,500 to self-deport. What? This isn't separating children from their parents. This is what the Democrat Party is trying to spin. How? Well, they'll get a chunk of video from Chicago where ICE had a huge op a couple days ago. And they arrested all of these Tren de Aragua gang members. And even women who are part of the gang. And you know what? Those people might have children. Well, when you're arresting a gangbanger who's basically holding an apartment complex hostage, what are you supposed to do with their child? And why is that your fault? It's not. So the Democrats say, they're ripping kids away from their parents. I didn't vote for that. That's a lie. They know it's a lie. And sadly, too many of the brainwashed, I only watch CNN and MSNBC libs out there believe that. See, these are the unhinged, triggered people that decide to go up to the top of a roof and snipe a Dallas ICE facility, aiming, no doubt, for the agents, but instead killing an illegal immigrant and wounding 2 others. This is the lunacy that the left is behind. President Trump wants children to go back to their families. And he's saying, I have $2,500 for you to do that, and we will help you. That is more money, I guarantee you, than those children have ever even dreamed of. Does that sound like a cruel, authoritarian dictator? Or does that sound like someone who wants law and order? Hour 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on tap. It's a race to the bottom. Who actually is worse for Virginia? The Democrat running for Attorney General or the Democrat running for governor? Woo! You decide. What next?
The problem is a lot of these kids aren't wanted back by their parents. They want their kids to stay here to work to send money home. That's the problem.
It's well said.
Where do you send them?
It's well said. I don't know.
But we shouldn't have to pay for it.
Look at you guys. 3.51. Do you mind if I go to the bathroom real fast?
You asking for permission? Yeah.
I didn't know if you had to go.
I just went.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think these kids should become our problem. We have enough kids going hungry every night in our own country that are American citizens. Why do we have to not just police the world? Why do we have to baby the world? It's not, they always want to talk about what's fair and what's not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to the general public, because it's just not them staying here. They're going to get health care. They're going to use the services that are meant for Americans. The semantics that the Democrats play, the word games that they play, call it what you want. They're not American. This is America. And none of them are willing to open their homes. It's what did I read a story? I don't know if she has it. She doesn't, but 50% of illegals in Minnesota are fraudulent. Like, just kick them out. Kick them out. You're going back. You're not going back with $1,000 or $2,500. You're just going back. Goodbye. It's frustrating. You talk about the price of food going up, the price of insurance, not just health insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance. All this stuff goes up not because you use it. It's because of the people who don't have it use it. It's just, you may have good car insurance, but you're not paying to necessarily cover you. You're paying to cover all the illegals drunk driving and causing accidents. And it's just, if the Democrats want to talk about fairness, it's just not fair. I shouldn't have to cover insurance for me and you, because insurance companies aren't in the business of losing money. They're worse than damn Vegas. I digress.
1-800-NEW-ROOF. If you live in southwestern land before time, which would be Pennsylvania, my section of it, which would be Pittsburgh, there's a really good chance that Gary and Diane Ireland and their family business, Ireland Contracting, is within your service area. And that means you have contractors that you can depend on who are going to show up and do a great job at a good price and stand behind the work they do at your fingertips. Home exterior renovations. They don't do kitchens. They're not going to help you with your basement, but they will give you a new roof. They will give you all new windows. They will give you new siding, and they'll fix things that are unsexy but super important to your house. Gutters and downspouts, soffit and fascia, things like that. Not sexy, super important. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I trust them. I know you can trust them. And I got Dan coming out next Tuesday. Their son, Dan, who's the electrician. He's coming to my house to talk to me about landscape lighting. I like to put in a really big flagpole and light it.
Oh, man, would that piss Bob off?
Oh, my gosh, yes. My liberal neighbor. He put there was a yard sale, big neighborhood yard sale.
You put up all his signs?
In September.
Call them vintage?
No, but he did lay 2 American flags on the ground. And my neighbor went over to him and was like, dude, you realize that is, you can't do that. You're supposed to burn a flag that touches the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Bob threw him off his property. Don't tell me what I'm allowed to do with my flags. Okay.
Okay, Bob.
All right, Democrat.
Bob.
Progressive,
let me
liberal.
Speak for everyone. You're an idiot.
Isn't that unfortunate?
I totally want to walk my dog in your neighborhood when Bob's out.
He's a nice fellow to me. He's a nice enough guy.
I wouldn't care.
Like, I don't talk politics with people. Like, once we're off the air, that's it. I don't with my friends. I even you and I mean, peripherally, when we're talking about what we do,
right,
we do. But
which is the majority.
Well, but generally, if we're just like shooting the breeze, it has nothing to do with politics. Bob, I don't think he'd want to open that door. But to his credit, I walk by with Murphy and he's talking to somebody and he stops and he's like, "Hi, Wendy." I'm like, "Hi, Bob." I wish you all the best, dude, but wake hell up.
I want to go vandalize his signs.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
That's not what we do. 3.58, 420 to go in an hour. Or as we say here in Pittsburgh, an hour. Brock can probably do it.
Oh,
He's
here
the
we go.
Yinzer.
I knew it
Go
was
ahead,
coming.
do it.
I knew it was
Just
coming.
say it so everybody knows what it sounds like.
Hour.
Oh, no. Say it the real way.
Hour.
No.
Hour.
Don't pretend
hour?
that you know how to do that. He
I-
went hour. Hour.
An hour.
An hour.
An
That's
hour.
it. He did it better than I did. I can't do it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time and sending the left a big bag of Durbans. She once gave a filibuster only using punchlines. The teleprompter reads from her notes. The Constitution asked her for an autograph. She once ended an argument before it began. Even her coffee leans right. She once fact-checked the fact-checkers, and they issued her a retraction. She doesn't get shadow banned. Shadows ask her permission. She convinced the border wall to build itself. She once lowered inflation with a coupon. Her radio delay button runs ahead of her, just in case. Wendy Bell, she is the most interesting conservative woman in the world. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on the clock. Hey, if you are tuning in from the beautiful Commonwealth of Virginia, what in the hell has happened to your state? I got to ask you, and I ask you sincerely from Pennsylvania. So I literally understand, right? When you live in a Democrat hellscape, or at least one that has Democrats vying to take over the Republican, to take over the governorship and to become the next attorney general, and the Democrat candidates are the ones like they have in Virginia, you got to look at your voters and be like, oh, hell no. Do you guys hear about this guy, Jay Jones? This guy fancies himself a real contender to be the Commonwealth of Virginia's top law enforcement officer. Well, whatever would qualify him for such a position? Well, I don't know what would qualify him. I can tell you what would disqualify him. Openly calling for the shooting, for the assassination of your political opponents. What? Did he honestly do that? Yeah. Here's your story, nationalreview.com. National Review's been all over this. I'm going to read you what's going on because it's been kind of a saga. And it's so curious because the mainstream media has reported on this a total of 0 times. ABC, NBC, CBS, right? Democrat AG nominee Jay Jones. Jay Jones, remember that name, fantasized about shooting the former Virginia GOP House Speaker. What? Yeah. Well, let's see. Maybe we're making something out of nothing. You decide, okay? On August 8th, 2022, a Republican state legislator received a disturbing string of early morning text messages from a former colleague, Jay Jones, this year's Democratic nominee for Virginia Attorney General. Jones, who at the time had recently resigned from the state house after a brief stint representing Norfolk, had strong feelings about how the political class was eulogizing recently deceased former state legislator Joe Johnson Jr., who was a moderate Democrat with a long tenure in Virginia politics. Republican legislators like House Speaker Todd Gilbert had begun making public statements honoring Johnson's memory and political legacy. And some of those statements were, well, let's just say they were not bad, okay? They were not bad statements at all. Brock, I want you to find me the original story. I just got blocked by a paywall on this National Review story, and I want to get all of the kind of specifics here about what this guy said. So Jay Jones is a Democrat. He is a black man. And the guy he's talking about, the speaker, the former speaker of the House in Virginia, he is a white guy. And apparently Jay Jones called for the shooting, the assassination of this white conservative Virginia House Speaker, which is beyond disturbing. But what happened beyond that has now gotten the attention of the President of the United States, who over the weekend called on Jay Jones to resign. He says this, Trump, it's just come out that radical left lunatic Jay Jones, who was running against Jason Miyares, the great attorney general in Virginia, made sick and demented jokes, if they were jokes at all, which were not funny, and that he wrote down and sent around to people concerning the murdering of a Republican legislator, his wife, and their children. That's how far this Jay Jones went. Then you've got Abigail Spanberger, who's running for governor, who is weak and effective and refuses to acknowledge what this lunatic, Jay Jones, has done. Even Democrats are saying it is resignation from campaign territory. Democrat Jay Jones should drop out of the race immediately, and the people of Virginia must continue to have a great attorney general in Jason Miyares, who, by the way, has my complete and total endorsement. Now, the whole idea here, Jay Jones fantasizing over a Republican counterpart being murdered and going so far as to say it should not just be the legislator, but also his wife and children, 2 little boys. While Trump urges Jay Jones to quit the attorney general race, slamming his violent texts against Todd Gilbert. So, President Trump calling on Democrat AG nominee Jay Jones to withdraw from the race after leaked text messages showed Jones saying he would shoot then House Speaker Todd Gilbert over 2 dictators. What? Trump condemned the comments, sick and demented, blah, blah, blah. Spanberger allegedly also condemned Jones' comments, saying she spoke frankly with him and made clear she will always condemn violent language in politics. Really? The 2022 text exchange, which surfaced this week, showed Jones writing that Gilbert, the Republican speaker, should get 2 bullets in the head. What? This is according also to reporting by the Associated Press, sent the texts to Republican House Delegate Kerry Coyner. The messages, first reported Friday by National Review, also included Jones calling Gilbert and his wife evil and saying that they were breeding little fascists, referring to the couple's 2 children. When Coyner suggested Jones appeared to wish harm on the children, he reportedly replied, yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Jones, Democrat, facing incumbent Attorney General Jason Miyares, a Republican in the November election. Republican gubernatorial candidate Winsome Earl Sears, currently Virginia's lieutenant governor, also responded Saturday evening. She said the leadership of the Democrat Party has become consumed with hate. To name a Democrat leader who hasn't called the president Hitler, try to name one who hasn't said Republicans and our policies are an existential threat to democracy. And in fact, Winsome Sears over the weekend put out an absolutely blistering campaign ad as she's going up against former CIA agent, Spook, former Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, who, by the way, has her own very curious and sordid past. This is Winsome Sears and her ad.
We start with breaking news from the campaign trail.
Jay Jones is under fire tonight.
Jay Jones is under fire.
Jay Jones is under fire after messages he sent in 2022 saying former Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert should be shot.
I'm excited about this ticket.
It's been great to be out on the campaign trail with Jay Jones.
You said Gilbert's wife could watch her own child die in her arms so that Gilbert might reconsider his political views.
We deserve an attorney general who will stand up for the people of Virginia.
Jones said, quote, Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head.
Let your rage fuel you.
Jones doubled down, saying, quote, do I think Todd and Jennifer are evil and that they're breeding little fascists? Yes.
How can Virginians trust a man who said something so horrific, so callously?
Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy.
That is scary. That is legislating with death threats, with bullying, with pressure tactics. That's disgusting. That is the Democratic Party. How much more abundantly clear do we need to be? There would not be a gnashing of teeth or wringing of hands if a Republican said that. Get out. You are not welcome. You do not represent our values. Period. So now you've got Trump, J.D. Vance, Mike Johnson, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, the Attorney General Jason Miyares, Virginia Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, Chip Roy, and Elon Musk saying this Jay Jones guy, whether it's because, I don't know, whether it's a racial thing, whether it's just a politics thing, who says these things? This is what leads to the assassination attempt twice of the president. This is what led to Charlie Kirk. This is what the Democratic Party puts out. This is what the left refuses to disavow. This is on the ballot next November. And this November, if you're in Virginia. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Speaking of bad candidates, let's dig a little bit more into Abigail Spanberger. She sounds like a real piece of work, doesn't she? Next. Thank you for scrambling there. That is so frustrating. It's a great article by National Review. But after I read it once, then you try to read it again and they're like, sorry, now you've got to pay for that. And it's like, snap. So I appreciate you running on that one. Abigail Span.
I sent you another text about what he typed.
A Class 6 felony. Virginia Project. Huh. That's a very interesting statute.
And then did you see what the Democrats put out? I saw it late, or I would have sent it to you. Let the person who hasn't sinned cast the first stone. That's what they put out. So don't judge him.
Wait a
You're
minute.
not perfect.
How do you believe that the top law enforcement official in your state
is going to protect you?
Is going to protect you if, God forbid, you have a Trump 47 sticker on your car, like Brock does, or you have a MAGA hat on, or whatever. You think that justice is blind? Not according to this dude. Of all people, you want nowhere near this.
I want to get a bumper sticker. Just say, I voted for this. I got to see if there's anything out there.
See, in my neighborhood, that would cause your car to get vandalized. And I live in a nice neighborhood.
Probably mine, too. I haven't been yet. But I did get my Back to Blue sticker markered and on my car.
Like, what kind of a petulant child does that?
I do back
You're not allowed to have your views. If your views aren't my views, I'm going to hurt you or worse.
I do back into my driveway, though, so it's not pointing out.
Right? God, I hate everybody. This is an interesting story on Just the News regarding Abigail. How you doing, Abigail? Who is, let's see here.
Man, a lot of don't blame me, I voted for Kamala's bumper stickers, but no, I voted for that. Maybe I'll have to get it customized.
Well, Glenn Youngkin's got some investigating to do, it looks like. Yes?
I'm okay with that.
Uh-huh. He's got another month to go.
Hell, why shouldn't the FBI?
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Seems like this Jay Jones guy and his texts aren't going to be so easily swept under the rug. Brock, what did you say the Democrat response to this guy was? They made some excuse for him.
Yeah, person who with the first cast the first stone who hasn't sinned.
Because that's a reasonable response. How about we totally disavow all violence? They can't say that because they are the party of it. So something called the Virginia Project on X says J. Jones texts openly calling for the murder of an opponent, his wife, and his 2 children. It constitutes a Class 6 felony and is requesting that Governor Glenn Youngkin, who's got a little time left on the job, hey, let's look into this. Where's Kash Patel? What are we doing? And there is a subsection here that says any person who knowingly communicates in a writing, including electronically transmitted communication, producing a visual or electronic message, including an email, a text message, or a message or a post on any social media platform, a threat to kill or do bodily injury to a person, regardless of whether the person who is the object of the threat actually receives it, and the threat places such a person who is the object of the threat or any member of his family in reasonable apprehension of death or bodily injury to himself or his family member is guilty of a Class 6 felony. Feels like an act of terrorism. And then you've got this winner, Abigail Spanberger, trying to go for the Democrat, trying to win and become the next governor of Virginia. You've got Glenn Youngkin now. You have Winsome Sears, former Marine, as the Republican candidate. Well, let's talk a little bit about Spanberger, the Democratic hopeful for Virginia governor. She leans heavily on her CIA credentials as she's running for office, right? But her stint at the Islamic Saudi Academy, say what? Has been a source of controversy in her prior races. Yeah, I would think so. This is from justthenews.com. The Democratic gubernatorial nominee in Virginia worked for a Saudi government-controlled school just after 9/11, because that makes sense, right? At a time when the Islamic Academy was already controversial for being controlled by the Saudi royal family and for its extremist textbooks, which taught hatred of non-Muslims. Super duper. That's where I want my next governor to have been teaching. Abigail Spanberger is currently the favorite to be the state's next governor, according to polling averages. When it was revealed during her first congressional run in 2018 that she'd worked for the Islamic Saudi Academy in Northern Virginia during the 2002 to 2003 school year, Spanberger said that she was proud and not ashamed of her work history, despite the fact that when she chose to work at the school, it was already well known for its links to Hamas. I'm sure it's nothing. I mean, now the optics are horrible. September 11th, 2001, right before she decides to join as a teacher. Are you kidding me? At the Islamic Saudi Academy, run by the Saudi whatever elite, right? The government, and connected to Hamas. Well, the problematic nature of the Saudi Academy, known as the ISA in shorthand, would be revealed even further in the years which followed. The school was controlled and funded by the Saudi government. Nothing to see here. Numerous local citizens in Northern Virginia were opposed to the relocation and the expansion of this school due to concerns about the school's teachings, about its control by and funding from the Saudi government, and about how the Saudi government's human rights record would kind of play in here. A top leader of Hamas had sent his children to the school. The school's controller has been linked to Hamas. And then recent graduates of the school had come under suspicion by federal authorities of potentially seeking to carry out a suicide attack in Israel. But I'm sure beyond that. Oh, wait, what? The school's textbooks contained hateful language, including animosity towards non-Muslims and Jews in particular. Get out. That's crazy. And the ISA's own website, school's own website, said it was controlled by the Saudi government and was guided by the Saudi Ministry of Education. Spanberger did not respond to a request for comment. Like, in what world would a former CIA agent start working right after 9/11, in which 2,997 people from around the world lost their lives? Why would you go then work for a school affiliated with Hamas? I don't know, Virginia, you got to ask yourself that question because the rest of us are watching you. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, a Biden-appointed judge gives Brett Kavanaugh's would-be killer pretty nice, soft little sentence. The DOJ is ticked. Next. The Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, pittsburghdiscinstitute.com. You know, when I think about some of these statistics, so in the world of pain relief, could be for tooth pain, toe pain, back pain, whatever. It's an $80 billion industry, pain relief. Holy cow. No wonder why pharma wants you still taking pills, right? It's a huge cash cow. Why would you fix the problem when you can just slap some pills on the symptoms, right? Did you know that of the $80 billion of global pain relief, $50 billion goes specifically to back pain? That's crazy. And that's something outrageous, like 4 out of 5 of us in our lifetimes are going to need a Dr. Richard Rafferty, a guy who knows all about the back, about bulging and herniated discs, about all of it. But did you also know that there is a way, and it's fascinating, that your discs can grow back? It can. If they haven't degenerated to a certain degree, in which case you certainly need surgery. You don't have to have surgery in many instances. You need to just call Dr. Rafferty at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, where people have traveled from all around the country to go through this process called intra-disc neutrosis. 98% successful. That's a pretty good number. 98. I'll take it, right? 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600. Pittsburghdiscinstitute.com. That's what he does. Helps you avoid spinal surgery by helping your discs grow back. Sounds reasonable. Pittsburghdisc, DISC, Institute.com. And don't forget Kelly Morgan. I just had a guy come up to me. Where was it? I think we were out with the boys for dinner. And we were walking out and a gentleman came up to me and he's like, "Do you know Kelly Morgan?" And I said, "I do." He said, "Well, I go to her gym." He says, "You know that you're splashed all over that gym." I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "She is so proud to be affiliated with your program." Literally, you walk in and it's like, "Proud sponsor of the Wendy Bell radio program." I love that. Kelly is one of these women, Air Force veteran, who she can't be convinced or conned or fooled. And she can't be bullied or bought. She loves this country very strongly. She feels about it the way you and I do. And she's created this great business, More Gains Fitness. And in southwestern Pennsylvania, there are 4 locations, Somerset and Cambria counties. So if you want to join a gym and you've never done it before, of all places where you would feel comfortable, where you would be welcomed, where you would be taught about the machines and how to use them. And beyond that, she's got so many things to offer, including that 90-day Ignite program. More Gains Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. She's got a merch sale for another, I think, 6 or 7 days, maybe until next Monday.
I think it was the 13th.
13th, yes. So next Monday, She's got great stuff on her website, morgainzfitness.com. Fantastic. This is such a bizarre story about this Kavanaugh would-be killer. And like, it's just back to Nayib Bukele's quote. If you don't impeach the corrupt judges, you cannot fix the country. They will form a cartel and block all reforms, protecting the systemic corruption that put them in their seats. Bing, 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 bing.
We are only 250 away.
Hi, 1204 watching on X. Thank you. I love that. Thank you if you're here on Rumble and you've done such a great job for us. 7,300 still hanging in strong. Thank you. Like, we know that you guys, there are a million different things that you can watch and pay attention to out there, you know, and that you come here every day is tremendously heartwarming. And I so appreciate you. Thank you.
I hope the Republican Party people just dump a ton of money into Virginia's race. Virginia and New Jersey.
Corey, thank you. Hi, Boston guy. What's up, Joma?
Oh,
Hi,
by the way,
Texan.
Froggy gave another 20 a while back. You guilted him, I guess, into it.
Oh, Froggy, I'm sorry. That was awful nice. Thank you. I love that we put our name in that you guys helped put the our name in the hat or hat in the ring, whatever it is, for Patrick Bet David's female podcaster.
I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some old forgotten words or ancient melodies. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gotta take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I guess the rain's down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never did.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Delighted to be with you on this Monday. You know, it was several years ago, but it's one of those stories that I think shocked a lot of us. And I think it kind of underscored this mental illness, this fragility that has been, I don't know, it feels like it's been groomed into the fabric of much of this young generation. Some kids are affected by the messaging and the constant negativity about conservatives and the hatred for Donald Trump. And it doesn't take a whole lot sometimes for one of them to just go off the deep end. And this guy from Simi Valley, California, who flew across the country ostensibly to go kill Brett Kavanaugh because he didn't like the direction of the court. He didn't like that it was a 6-3 conservative majority. And so this young man thought it was within his purview. And yes, it seemed like a reasonable thing to do, to travel. How he got a gun and ammunition in his checked bag through the airport, ostensibly LAX, to then land and go to Brett Kavanaugh's house and lurk around his property with the intent to kill, right? And then for a Biden-appointed judge to say, yeah, you know what? I don't really think he meant it. Like, He was very cooperative. And so how about we just give him kind of a relaxed sentence with the opportunity to bounce back on the street in a couple years? Say what? This is exactly what brings me back to Nayib Bukele's statement. At the beginning of the program, I found this, the president of El Salvador. He's talking specifically about carving out corrupt judges. He's like, if you don't impeach the corrupt judges, you can't fix a country. They'll form a cartel and block all reforms, protecting the systemic corruption that put them in their seats. Isn't that basically Congress too? Which is why you need term limits, right? Well, let's talk about this particular case. And now the DOJ is getting involved. As well they should. TrendingPoliticsNews.com, Biden-appointed judge sparks outrage with lenient sentence for would-be SCOTUS assassin. This is unbelievable. Do you mean to tell me that if, let's just say, what? Sonia Sotomayor. If some lunatic on the right went to Sonia Sotomayor's house with zip ties and a handgun, right? And wanted to kill her, you think any judge out there would give that individual a lenient sentence? Hell no. A federal judge on Friday sentenced Nicholas Roski to just 8 years in prison. Just 8 years in prison for attempting to murder Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Far below the 30-year sentence sought by prosecutors. Judge Deborah Boardman said during the sentencing hearing that while Roski's actions were reprehensible, the judge also considered a string of mitigating circumstances, including that Roski, quote, spontaneously confessed to and cooperated with police. Oh, that's so nice. He seemed like a nice boy, right? Sort of like that one judge who told DeCarlos Brown Jr., if you sign me this note promising to come back to my courtroom, I'll let you go. Hello? I'm thinking the mental illness happens to be on the freaking bench. A judge also praised Roski. Say what? Who now goes by Sophie. Oh, for his gender transition. Do you think there's a problem with the transgender folks, guys? Right? The judge also praised Roski, who now goes by Sophie, for his gender transition and spent hours working down terrorism enhancements at a lengthy sentencing hearing. Quote, I believe Ms. Roski understands that what she did was terribly wrong. I find her remorse sincere. I find this judge reprehensible. Deborah Boardman wanting to play along with the farcicalness that you should be called she because, even though you got that penis thing, I've always felt like a girl. Okay, says a lunatic. DOJ prosecutor Corinne Mao would ask the judge to impose a sentence that must send the very strong, clear message that this ends and that it never justifies violence, right? Mao noted that back in April, Kavanaugh received a death threat from somebody who invoked Roski's name and referenced shooting the justice in the head. I wonder why. Why all the violent rhetoric? Oh, I don't know, because even Kamala Harris is saying it. This, the prosecutor noted, illustrated the need to impose a steep sentence in order to deter future would-be assassins. Like if you get thrown in jail for the rest of your life, that might act as a wee bit of a deterrent to the next whack job. Well, no. A federal sentencing memorandum detailed extensive online research, weapons purchases, and reconnaissance leading up to Roski's arrival outside Kavanaugh's Maryland home in the early hours of June 8th of 2022. Roski's own digital trail shows he wanted to alter the court's direction through murder. I don't know. Is that sort of like what Jay Jones in Virginia was advocating for? And the Democrat Party was like, yeah, we all sometimes do things that we don't like to to take responsibility for. We'd like to take them back. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. According to prosecutors, his digital trail included writing that he was shooting for 3 and observed that people have killed judges before. Oh, so he didn't just plan on shooting Kavanaugh. He was going to go after, what, Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett? Super duper. Thanks, Democrats. Authorities say Roski flew from California to Dulles with a Glock 17, ammunition, a knife, zip ties. I get practically strip searched at the airport. And this guy was able to fly through with all this stuff? Are you out of your mind? A Glock 17, ammo, knife, zip ties, a pry bar, tactical gloves, and other gear, and then took a taxi to Kavanaugh Street. Upon spotting Deputy U.S. Marshals outside the residence, he walked away, spoke with his sister, dialed 911, and later surrendered to police. Despite the extensive planning, the Biden-appointed judge opted to hand down an incredibly lenient sentence of just 8 years, which means Sophie, I'm sorry, no, he's still a dude. Nicholas could be eligible for early release in as little as 4 years. Boardman, a Biden appointee, said she factored in President Donald Trump's executive order requiring transgender inmates to be detained in prisons that correspond to their sex at birth, since she's more worried about how he's going to be offended by being around a bunch of dudes. You are one. What is going on in this country? Boardman said she factored in President Donald Trump's executive order requiring transgender inmates to be detained in prisons that correspond to their sex at birth. Since the sentence was well below the prosecutor's guidelines, the Justice Department will have the opportunity to appeal. Huge outrage on social media. Many commentators pointing to the steep sentences handed down to January 6 defendants, pro-life protesters, and senior Trump allies. Well, hell, if you're Nick Sorter as a conservative journalist and you get jumped by goons outside the Portland ICE offices and you get punched, you get arrested. I'm sorry. This is why today's title of this whole program is very simple. Democrats need to look in the mirror. This is the environment they have created. This is the danger they put people who follow the law, as in Brett Kavanaugh and others, in. You know what you don't hear? Conservatives don't do that. I'm sorry. Do you remember the last time a legit conservative, and not somebody said to be one, like gay lover of what's his face, Paul Pelosi, right? Who attacked him with a hammer? When was the last time? And what is it with the transgender stuff? Do you think maybe the mental illness plus the drugs plus SSRIs equals unhinged, ticking time bomb, Charlie Kirk style danger? Yeah. So the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi's been a busy woman. She's on this too. Nicholas Roski, the attempted assassination of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was a disgusting attack on our entire judicial system by a profoundly disturbed individual, Pam Bondi wrote. The DOJ will be appealing this woefully insufficient sentence imposed by the district court, which does not reflect the horrific facts of this case. Nicholas Roski will now pay the price for attempting to assassinate a Supreme Court justice in a violent plot to alter the court's composition and its rulings, said Kash Patel, Violence against federal judges or other public officials is unacceptable and will be met with the full force of the law. Jay Jones, are you next? Feels like there needs to be some accountability for suggesting a political opponent, his wife, and 2 children should be murdered. Don't you? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, surprise, surprise, trust in the media hits a new all-time low. I got the details, the data next. I swear to God, during Toto, the camera goes haywire. It knows that I'm sending love to you. Might be a stretch, but still. I don't know why it does that. It's very creepy.
384 did not move the needle much.
160 people. If we got 4,000, I bet you we'd be number 4 or better, regardless of our total views today. I'm going to say that. I believe that. 3.84 still. Not doing a whole lot to do it here. What can I say? What's a good incentive, Brock? What do you think?
Hope a struggling talk show host.
That's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. Gallup. So seriously, I'm going to ask you, what do you guys think the trust in the media is at now? So here's the question. How much confidence do you have in the mass media to report news, quote, fully, accurately, and fairly?
A 0.
Well, considering...
A 0.
Right? 0.
For our Trende Aragua listeners.
0.
0.
I agree. 28%. Wow.
I don't know what they could do now. I just think it's so far gone. So far gone that it's beyond repair.
It makes me sad to celebrate the demise of the business that I really cared about. But it got hijacked somewhere along the way. And I wasn't part of it.
How many times did they... See, you said that they cheered when Obama won.
Oh, yeah.
I think we just...
That was the news director.
I don't know if ignored
and the
is
assistant news director running down the hallway, waving a flag. I think it said Obama. I think it was an Obama flag. And I was like, what are you doing? This is so not acceptable behavior in the media. I don't wish people to lose their jobs, but I do wish for the lies to stop. How about any kind of critical thinking? That's the problem. You've got sanctimonious liberals.
How about just reporting on stuff?
Who don't have any kind of intellectual integrity or curiosity. This is what I'm supposed to say. Somebody wrote it for me, and so I'm going to say it.
How about we're going to ignore stories that don't fit our narrative? How about just reporting on the news?
Right? I agree. I hate everyone. It's not very friendly, but it's true.
388. Can't bribe with pictures.
Thank you all for all of that. I wish we were going to hit it. It doesn't look like we will, but...
Oh, won't you take me home tonight? Oh, and you give it all you got. Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Look, I don't like to be a sore loser. I don't want to root against the media. I don't want to watch the people where I used to work lose their jobs. It doesn't give me joy. You know, I'm not a tit for tat kind of person, but I believe the industry has been compromised, corrupted, co-opted, and controlled by people who don't actually care about the news. They care about the storyline. And by and large, these people are really bad actors. The performance is poor. And more people obviously paying attention to the lies and the selective quote unquote reality presented by your mainstream media, which is why shows like mine are doing really well. I'll tell you my bias, 100%. I am way biased. I am a 100% conservative. I love this country. I love our military. I believe in basic common sense principles. I believe in traditional family values. I'm really not that exciting. I'll tell you all about it if you want to know. But when I was on the news, that didn't come out. I was not supposed to. My job as a TV news reporter and anchor was to tell you what was going on. Well, over at Breitbart, one of my favorite guys, John Nolte, is celebrating. He's calling it a victory. He's like, trust in the mass media plummets to another all-time low. I mean, literally, it's going to have to be a race to the bottom. How low can they go before they bottom out? People all, lock, stock, and barrel, walk away from this entirely. And these news organizations are forced to fold. I don't know. It's happening faster, though. The American people have awakened to the dangerous and hateful fraud that is the legacy media. According to Gallup, which has measured trust in mass media for 50 years, that trust just hit another record low. Only 28% trust the corporate media. Americans' confidence in the mass media has edged down to a new low, with just 28% expressing a great deal or fair amount of trust in newspapers, television, and radio to report the news fully, accurately, and fairly, reports Gallup. That's down from 31% last year and 40% 5 years ago. And that was horrible back then. When Gallup began measuring trust in the news media in the 1970s, between 68% and 72% of Americans expressed confidence in reporting. The report adds. That makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, that was during what? Walter Cronkite, Watergate era, before people had access to any kind of alternative media. Obviously, no conservative talk radio, no internet, no cable news. However, by the next reading in 1997, public confidence had fallen to 53%. That's a lot. That also makes sense. By 1997, the late, great, still missed Rush Limbaugh had been broadcasting nationally since the 80s. And one part of his genius was explaining and exposing the dominant media's insidious bias. Locally, conservative talk radio blossomed all around the country. And reports on media bias were a large part of the daily diet. Media trust remained just above 50% until it dropped to 44% in 2004, and it has not risen to the majority level since. Another marker that makes sense, because it was, 2004 when we learned terms like blog and citizen journalist. It was in 2004 when the online alternative media came alive and with surgical precision offered daily access to alternative news, alternative opinion, and media criticism, right? And it goes on and on and on into the nuances of this. But let's just see. According to Gallup, do you want to know what the numbers are? Let's look. 8% of Republicans, ladies and gentlemen, 8% of Republicans still have confidence, or a fair amount of it, that the information they're getting from their legacy news is believable. 51% of Democrats, 51%. Of course. Of course that would be the case. And how about independents? 27%. That's terrible. That's not comebackable from, right? There's not going to be all of a sudden some wholesale reversal and the media are going to say, you know what? We're not profitable anymore. We're going to have to change everything we do. You cannot change what has already happened. The entire industry of your legacy, NBC, CBS, Washington Post, CNN, all of that jazz. The majority of Americans see it and know it for what it is. Thank you for being a part of the program today. I hope you come on back tomorrow, Wendy Bell Radio. Get our app, get our podcast. Just keep coming back. Until then, peace.